Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite books of 2022. I read 114 books in 2022, but I had to narrow it down. I was going to try to do 10, but I couldn't go lower than 12. I had to. I'm also going to be putting authors together and series together. So if I'm going to talk about a series, I'm going to count it as one book. I'm not going to be ranking them. I'm only going to be doing like random ones, and then the top 3 will be ranked. So the first one will be My Dark Vanessa. This one follows the main character Vanessa. It has 2 different timelines. So it switches between the 2000, which is when she was in a boarding school and in a relationship with a teacher who was in his 40s and she was, I think, 15, and 2017, which is when the teacher is getting accused of children. It is the story of them, so you will get the story of her with the teacher, like from when it started to the present. In the present, she's dealing with basically everybody accusing him of being a child molester, and her dealing with like the struggle of thinking that he was actually in love with her. Like, she thinks that what they had was different. So basically, yeah, that's what this book is about. It's amazing. I know it's weird to say, I said that in the other video, it's weird to say that it's an amazing book because it's so dark and it's so raw, and like I was just disgusted with him that like it wasn't like a happy, you know, amazing, but it's amazing in the sense that like what you feel reading it is just something I'm not like used to. So then we have The American Roommate Experiment. This is a companion novel to The Spanish Love Deception, and it is the second book in the series. I think it's the last one as well because she announced a new book and it's not part of the series, so I don't know if she's gonna continue it or not. I did hope to get Chato's like book, but I guess we're not doing that. I feel like I'm one of the few people that love this book. I feel like it was better than The Spanish Love Deception, and I think that I like Lucas more than Aaron. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know that that's a very unpopular opinion. The fact that he spoke Spanish, like the scenes where like he speaks Spanish, I feel like they hit harder because Spanish is like my native language. So obviously I'm like swooning every single time he speaks Spanish. I'm like, yes. I loved him. I'm gonna read a review because I feel like she worded it perfectly, like what I felt reading this book. I feel like if you read this review, you're not even gonna need to know what the book is about, okay? So she says, girl, I don't even know where to begin, but can I say that I've never felt an ache this effing strong in my heart like I did when I read it, when reading this book. Exactly. She put, the slow burn quite literally stabbed me in the heart, slit my throat, and carved its name onto my chest. It was so excruciatingly painful, but in all the right ways. Exactly what I felt. Like, I just felt it in my chest and my whole body, like the ache. Another part of the review that I really liked was when she said, Lucas has just a way with words that had me thinking very unhinged things. And the way he's just so down and deep for Rosie, honestly, it pissed me the F off because I know men like him just simply don't exist in real life. That's why I was so obsessed with him, probably, because it was just so unrealistic. It was like something that you've never seen. Like, I've never seen a man, like a real life man, act like this. So that's why I loved it. I loved it. And the beginning was a little bit cringy. Like, whenever she was like, she couldn't even speak around him. Like, girl, get yourself together. Like, it's just a man. You can speak. Think about it. I don't know. I just feel like the way she was at first was a little cringy. And I am 95% that is why a lot of people DNF'd this book and didn't like it. But like I promise you, once you get like past at least like the first 25%, it's so good. It's so good, and we get a lot of Catalina and Aaron, which is something that I was not expecting. That's what I think about this one. I think it was a great book. I know that that's a very unpopular opinion, and I stand by it. I stand by it. Then we have 3 books by Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's my current favorite author, so obviously I want to talk about all of them, but I'm not going to talk much about these 2, just this one. This is Forever Interrupted. This is about a couple that got married very fast. Like, their families didn't know about each other or anything, and then they got married, and before they even had like their marriage license, changed their last name, anything like that, he passes away. And basically it's about the widow and the mother-in-law who don't know each other dealing with that situation. It took a turn that I was not expecting, and I loved it. I loved where it went. And I have Malibu Rising. I feel like if you have daddy issues, you're gonna like this book. That's all I'm gonna say, because I feel like I wouldn't have connected to it as much as, like, okay, don't get me wrong, the story is entertaining. It takes place within 24 hours. It is a party. All 4 of the siblings have like a secret going on that is gonna probably come out to light at the end of the day, like at the end of the night. It's also about them four dealing with his dad, or their dad, who is a shitty person. It takes place in the 80s, so it is also part of like that, you know, universe that Taylor Jenkins Reid has. So yeah, this is a great book. I loved it. I feel like everybody talks about it, so I don't want to talk about it much because I don't want this book to be long, and I feel like everyone knows what it's about because it's a very popular book. So if you guys are questioning whether you should read it or not, I say go for it, but I do feel like it's not for everyone. Then I have Carrie Soto is back. This one is about a tennis player who, like a female tennis player, and she had the best record, I think, of matches won. She had like a record going on, and then she retires, and another player comes in the scene and takes her record from her. And then it's basically her relationship with her dad, because her dad is her coach, or was her coach throughout her career. So like both her and her dad come out of retirement so that she can compete again and take back the record. There wasn't that much romance, but the very few romance we got was amazing. I love a romance that comes out of nowhere. I love it. And like her relationship with her dad, like her dad himself, like just, I loved every single character in this book. Even her, she's such a baddie. She is such a baddie. They call her the battle axe. Oh, you know? Oh, I love this book so much. I just cannot rave about it enough. Then we got Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. So this is about Alexis, who is a city girl. She is a doctor. She works in a hospital, and she comes from like a long line of surgeons, and her family basically wants her to be more than what she is. Right now she's an ER doctor, and she's okay with that, but her family, especially her dad, wants her to be like a surgeon and like the chief of surgery, you know what I mean, like higher than just a mere ER doctor. So she ends up, I don't know, I forgot how, but she ends up at a small town, and there she meets Daniel. Daniel is 28 and Alexis is 38, so we have an age gap romance, and he's younger than her. He lives in a small town, and they end up hooking up that night, and then she goes back to the city. So then she goes back to the town for a different reason and sees him, and then she basically starts dating him, and basically it's like how her city life and her new small town life are coming together, and she has to make the decision, obviously, to either stay with him in the small town, or like stay with him in the city, or like stay single in the city. Like she just has different options, and she is dealing with the fact that she has to make that decision throughout this book. I was a little bit scared of how Daniel was gonna be, and I was obsessed. I know that I say that I'm obsessed a lot in videos, but like this guy was just like, the things he would do and say, I was like, you are like whipped. Like this guy was whipped. This book also got me hooked to Abby Jimenez, and then I remember that she had two other books that I wanted to read, so I went ahead and picked up Life's Too Short. This one is about a girl that has a condition that she's gonna die, or like she has a condition that her sister and her mom had, and her sister and her mom never saw 30, like they died in their 20s. So she thinks that she's gonna die in her 20s as well. So she goes out and makes a YouTube channel about how she's living, you know, her last years and whatever, and she goes viral. So then I don't know what happens, that she needs a lawyer, and he is her neighbor. But basically, like, she needs a lawyer, she starts talking to him, and then like they basically develop a relationship, but she doesn't tell him that she's dealing with this condition. So basically it's like him trying to be all in the relationship, and her being a little bit distant because she doesn't want to get his hopes up. So like both of these are like basically not grumpy sunshine, but I feel like the girl is like, both girls are grumpier than the guy. Like the guys are more like on the sunshine side, but they're not like extremes like grumpy sunshine. Like I wouldn't classify them as grumpy sunshine, but if I had to choose, then the girls in these books will be the grumpy, and then the guy will be more like golden retriever-y, you know? So then we have Conversation with Friends. This one is about this girl called Frances. She is in her early 20s. She has a best friend called Bobby, who is also her ex-girlfriend. And they have like this like stand-up poetry show that they do around. So then there's this girl called Melissa. She's older than them, and she finds them basically, like she goes to like one of their shows. She's impressed, she really likes them, so they basically like start hanging out with this girl Melissa. Now Melissa's married to this guy called Nick, and Frances and Nick have like something going on. Her dad is also like struggling, so she's dealing with that with her dad. She's dealing with her feelings for Nick, and then she has Melissa to worry about because Melissa's married to Nick. She also is worried about Bobby because Bobby's her ex-girlfriend, but like she's also close to Melissa, so obviously Bobby's not gonna be happy about her being with Nick. And like basically it's like an entanglement of four people, and it's very raw. They're very flawed, very flawed characters, and yeah, there's no character development. I mean, there is, but it's not like, it's more about like commentary, you know what I mean? You know how Sally Rooney is? I feel like Sally Rooney's like that. I read Normal People by her. I did not love it, but I think if I would have gone into it knowing how her writing style is, I would have liked it better. Would I reread it to get a different perspective? No, I would rather watch the show. So, and then this year I'm gonna read this one, which is Beautiful World, Where Are You? So yeah, this is gonna be the tiebreaker because I have one that I loved, one that I didn't care for, and then this one doesn't have really good reviews, but I feel like Sally Rooney is one of those people that they're very polarizing. You either like them or not. So then I have The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the third book in a series. We have The Kiss Quotient, and then we have The Bright Test. This is my favorite one. The other ones I think I get 4 stars, and then this one was a 5-star for me. So this is described as a woman struggling with burnout learns to embrace the unexpected and the man she enlists to help her. So this is a story about Anna and Kwan. Kwan is Kai's brother. Basically, she's like a goody two shoes. She's always been a goody two shoes. And then when her boyfriend asked her to take a break, like, or not take a break, but like have an open relationship, she's not okay with that. But she's like, you know what? You want an open relationship? Let's have an open relationship. And then I'm gonna quote this from the back of the book because I feel like this was the best way to describe it. Translation: she's going to embark on a string of one night stands. The more unacceptable the men, the better. We love a introverted goody two shoes girl who comes out of her shell, especially because I don't know if I said that already. I think I said it in my other video, but like Kwan makes her come out of her shell. He used to have cancer and now he's like recovering from it. So they're both basically like in their own journey, and I feel like they found each other at the perfect time. So yeah, this is the story basically of Anna coming out of her shell, and we love the character development. We love the romance. It was so good. I was kind of upset that I waited that long to pick it up because I think I read this like a year after it came out. Let me see. Yeah, this came out in 2021. I read it in 2022, at the beginning of 2022. So yeah, I love this book. Then we have the Folk of Air series. There's a third middle book. Imagine that I'm the Wicked King. I'm just gonna tell you what this one is about because I feel like this is all you need to know. Like if I tell you what this is about and what the Wicked King is about, then it's gonna spoil this one, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna talk about this one. But in here we have Jude. So Jude is mortal, she's human, and someone from the High Court of Fairy basically like killed their parents, like her and her sister parents, and they basically stole them back, not back, but they stole them and took them to the High Court of the Fairy, I think it's called, and let's call it the Fairy Court. Okay, so they basically like got stolen and sent to the Fairy Court, and they're being raised around fairy, and they're humans, so they get bullied, they get treated bad, and her biggest bully is Cardin, which is the prince, but he's like the youngest prince, so he has no chance of ever being the king. So it's not like that big of a deal that he's a prince, you know what I mean? He's just like any other freaking guy in school. So anyways, he's a bully, he's mean, and they're kind of like enemies. So it's kind of like an enemies to lovers, but like the romance is not the main point of this book. I just want to put it out there because I feel like people go into it like, enemies to lovers. Yeah, we love enemies to lovers. But then whenever they realize that the book is not really about romance, they're like, what was this? You know what I mean? Like it has a lot of, politics, so you hear about like the politics, not politics, real life politics, like fairy world politics, okay? It has a lot of like their world's politics. It talks about like basically like Jude. You get to know Jude very well. I don't think in this one you get to know Cardin as well, but throughout obviously the other ones you do. So yeah, this is one of my favorite fantasy trilogies, fantasy series, fantasy world. I love it so much. I loved Jude. She was a baddie. She was a baddie, and I'm here for it. All right, so now we're gonna talk about 2 fiction books that I loved and I read back to back, and I feel like it completely changed my life because I read them back to back. So the first one is called Essentialism. This one is described like this: Essentialism is more than time management strategy or productivity technique. It is a systematic discipline for discerning what is absolutely essential, then eliminating everything that is not, so that we can make the highest possible contribution towards the things that really matter. And I feel like this is the book that helped me let go of perfectionism. So for example, like now it's like when I load the dishwasher, okay, so as long as it's loaded and everything gets cleaned, I don't care how it's loaded. Before I used to be like, no, like bowls don't go there, cups don't go here, like who cares? If my husband is willing to help me, or like my kid is willing to help me to do the dishes by loading the dishwasher, as long as it's effective, who cares how it's done? You know what I mean? It's basically about being selective as to where you spend your time, as well as like doing less but better, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I feel like I don't want to get too into it. Like I feel like it's not gonna hit as hard if I tell you exactly what you're gonna learn in it. So let's just say that that's the best way I can describe it. And then I read Digital Minimalism. So I had watched The Social Dilemma. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't learn anything new. I knew that they were tracking us on social media. I knew that they had all of our information. I knew all of that. Nothing shocked me. I just didn't care because I'm not doing anything illegal. So like, who cares? You know what I mean? So I opened my account in 2011 when it first came out. I remember nobody had Instagram, and then I feel like I enjoyed it all the way up to like maybe 2015, 2016. Like when it started becoming more about sponsorships, promotions, advertisements, that kind of stuff. I feel like that's when it changed. And after that, I just started hating it. But like, I still had that like, oh, I used to love it, and I was still like trying to make it what it was when it was never gonna be like that again. So after reading this book, I decided to just let it go. I let it go. I closed all of my social medias. I literally just opened one like 2 days, like when I posted my first video, because it felt weird not sharing my video on social media, like promoting it. So I opened a social media and I only follow BTS. That's all I'm gonna follow. BTS, my favorite BTS fan account, and then a tattoo shop that I like their art, and obviously like I'm a tattoo person. So right now I basically have YouTube, and I don't even have it on my phone. Like my phone is just a tool. So in this phone I don't have any social media, no YouTube, no nothing. If I need a calculator, I use this. If I need to text someone, I use this. If I need to, I don't know, get maps to go somewhere, I use this. But I don't socialize or use it for anything else. My phone is a tool. It's not my life. I don't know where it is half of the time. It's just like around the house, you know. And now that I don't have social media, I feel like my attention span has definitely increased. I feel like I don't feel the need of I feel like I'm embracing who I am more than I used to, because now whenever I go shopping and buy something because I like it, not because of how it will look on social media. I also had let go of things that I thought I needed, but I only had it because social media told me to. Like social media told me, oh, you need like a jade roller. I probably never even thought that I had like puffy eyes, which I don't deal with that much, but like social media showing me that there's a thing called jade roller made me question, do I have puffy eyes? Do I need a jade roller? You know what I mean? Versus like if I didn't have social media, I feel like I wouldn't even have noticed that I have puffy eyes. You know what I mean? That kind of like social media like tells you what to do without you even like unconsciously tells you what you need, and then you end up spending money. So because I deleted social media and also trying to live an essentialist life, I don't buy things I don't need. I don't wear things I don't like. I'm just like in my own bubble doing my own thing, only doing what's gonna benefit me. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I deleted social media like a month ago, and like I talked more on the phone with my best friends in that month than I did like the whole 2022 through social media, because we were always commenting on each other's stories, sending each other messages. So like it felt like I knew what was going on with my friend's life without them telling me about it. You know what I mean? So like now they're actually telling me about it and we can talk about what happened, versus me seeing it online and commenting like a heart, like, oh, I love that. You know what I mean? People are meant to grow apart. Like people are just meant to be in your life for a period of time, and it's okay for you to like distance yourself. It's not that you hate each other, you know what I mean? But I feel like because we have each other on social media, like I have people from the military, I have people from high school, I have people from college, I have people from elementary school, like I have people from everywhere, from every single era of my life, that I don't think we have like a genuine friendship. We just used to have a good friendship when I was there and we were in the same part, like we were basically in the same stage of our lives. But now we're like both in different journeys, and like we're still on social media. So it's like we feel like it feels forced. It feels forced, and the relationships cannot fade away organically, because you have to either block someone or mute them, and then they're not gonna take that the good way. They're gonna be like, well, why did she block me? Why did she unfriend me? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's okay for you to not want to be involved with that person again. It doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you like, oh, if you see them around, you're not gonna say hi. You know what I mean? But like, you just don't need to know what everyone is doing at all times. No one cares. No one cares what I'm doing all the time. You know what I mean? No one cares what, like, I don't care what anybody's doing all the time. I only care about my kids and my husband and my family. You know what I mean? My friends. But like, the rest of the people that I met throughout my life, I mean, this is gonna sound harsh, but like, I don't care. It's okay. Like, if I see you in person, we say hi, we say what have you been up to, you catch each other up. You don't need to know every single detail about everyone. I digress. I feel like I went on a rant there, but basically these two books are amazing. They changed my life. I feel like I'm a brand new person, and it is why I actually started my YouTube channel again, because I don't have social media now. I find myself bored, and I'm like, what can I do besides reading? Because I love reading. I'm always gonna be reading, you know what I mean? So talk about books. You've always wanted to do a booktube channel. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, I had a YouTube before, but I rarely ever talked about books. Now I'm like, I can talk about books, and if people don't follow my channel or like subscribe, that's okay, because I'm doing it for me, and I'm doing it to have fun and to click with other people and talk about books with other people. I don't know that many people in real life that read, so like it feels nice to talk about it with other people, you know what I mean? All right, so now we have You Love Me Once. This is the last one until we get to my top 3. This one is so freaking good. I feel like it's so underrated. I went online on Goodreads recently to see how, like, what the ratings were looking like, and I think like 12,000 people only have read it, and I'm like, how? So basically this is a story about this doctor. She doesn't want a relationship, but she has like a hookup boyfriend. Basically she has a relationship with another doctor, but because they're both busy, they agreed that they're not gonna be serious, you know what I mean? But they have feelings for each other, you know what I mean? So basically when the guy doctor asks her to take the relationship to the next level, she says that she's gonna think about it. But at the same time, like when she's so like the whole time that she's thinking about it, someone from her past comes back into her life, and it brings a little bit of drama. And like there's also a patient who basically has like this, like the story depends on this patient and like her life and everything. So basically like it's how her past and her present are coming together so that she can move on and choose basically whatever makes her happiest and whatever is going to fit in her life best. But you still have like this suspense, like, oh, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna go with that? Is she gonna go with this other thing? Is she gonna like tell anyone? Because there's also a secret that she knows that she cannot tell anyone, like no one. So like you see the people that are basically in opposite sides of the story that she needs to choose, kind of like talk to her, but all she has to do is explain the secret for them to understand, but she can't because it's a secret. So like, you know, it's just like, oh, if only she could tell them, you know what I mean? Anyways, I mean, if she could tell them, the story wouldn't be good because then the story will be over. But basically it's a really good story. I loved it. Like I feel like it's probably my favorite Corinne Michaels book, and I have read a lot of her books. Okay, so this is like my top 3. These are like the best books of the year. So first we have Blood Sugar. This one is a thriller. It is about a woman who basically has murdered people throughout her life and never been caught. Like it's like small murders that she has been able to get away with, but then now that her husband has passed away, she's like the main suspect, and that is the only murder that she hasn't done. I feel like that's like the only way I can explain it to you without spoiling it. Like I already said this in a video, so I'm gonna say it in this one. The first murder she did was her sister's bully from elementary school. He was drowning in the ocean, and instead of saving him, she held him, like she held his leg down, and he basically like drowned and died. And because it was underwater, nobody saw it, and she got away with it. So every decade of her life she does like a little bit of like a little murder. That's not like, I feel like her murders are never planned out. She just happens to be at the right time in the right place to commit the murder. That's why she probably doesn't get caught. And also like the way she does it are very like forgot the word, but I will insert it, but like basically nothing gets left behind, so like nobody can track it back to her, you know? Anyways, I love that book. So underrated. I think I'm gonna read it again this year because I was obsessed. Then on second place, we have The Push. I actually have owned this book for years, and I cannot believe that I waited so long to read it. Also, the author's coming out with a new book. I didn't know about it, so I didn't add it on my anticipated reads, but I am definitely looking forward to the new book. I feel like I'm gonna pre-order it like as soon as I'm done filming, because I didn't know about it until this morning, and I was like, what? I didn't know. So this follows our main character, Violet. She is head over heels for Fox, her husband. They get married. They're like perfect, basically. She is more of she's not a family person. She doesn't have a family or anything like that. Like her mom is not present in her life, and he is a very much like a family person. So he has always wanted to be a parent, and she cannot picture herself as a parent because she has never seen that in like throughout her life. It's not like she has never seen anyone be a parent, like a good parent. So why would she want to do that, you know? So the moment they get married, he starts basically like acting like he wants a kid, and she's kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know how I will be as a mom. But he still convinces her, and she does have a baby, and they have a girl called Violet. So this book is basically about Violet being shady. And that's where the real plot of the book comes in. The moment she was born, Blythe, her mom, did not feel a connection to her, and she always felt like there was something wrong with her daughter. And then she had another baby called Sam, like a boy, and Blythe clicked with Sam. Like, he saw him, and she was like, okay, I feel like a mom now. She didn't treat Violet differently though. Like, I mean, she did, but not like, I feel like, I don't remember it being like, I mean, obviously she's jealous, you know what I mean? I don't remember thinking that. So I don't think she treated them that differently, but I know that she was definitely closer to the baby, to Sam. And something happens one day where their life basically gets turned around, and her whole life basically crumbles apart. And let me see what they say, because I don't, okay, so it says, But in the thick of motherhood's exhausting early days, Blythe becomes convinced that something is wrong with her daughter. She doesn't behave like most children do. Or is it all in Blythe's head? So basically, like, it's one of those stories where, like, nobody believes the main character and they act like she's seeing things or making up things. Even Violet seems to love her little brother, but when life as they know it is changed in an instant, the devastating fallout forces Blythe to face the truth. Yeah, I know I annotated it. Sometimes I, like, highlight, but I don't put tabs, and then I forget that I annotated. It's the best job in the world, isn't it? Motherhood, somebody told her. And she says, yup, I get it. I really do. As though I were a part of a club now. What I couldn't tell her was that I felt like I'd aged a century since I'd given birth to Violet. And I feel like as a mother, we don't speak up about the hard parts of motherhood enough. Like, yeah, it's more open. Like, people are more open to speaking about it now, but I feel like we're still not. Like, it's still unrealistic, the expectations that people have for mothers nowadays. And that's why people don't want to have kids. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know that some people are very, it's a very touchy subject. So yeah, this is my top 2. All right, so for my top 2 or top 1 series of the year, we have The Daughter of the Moon Goddess and The Heart of the Sun Warrior, both by Su Lin Tan, and they are a duology. Let me put it like this. This is the first book. This is the second book. I am head over heels for this series, this duology. I just cannot get enough. I cannot rave about it enough. I literally sit here and like go through it like this. I like sit here and look at my annotations like at least once a week. That's how obsessed I am with this book, okay? I want to get it tattooed. I got my favorite mug today. This is Wenjie. We got Shinjin and we got Liwei. I could not put it down. It was amazing. It was breathtaking, beautiful. Like, the characters, I was obsessed with all of them. I couldn't even choose. Like, well, yeah, I could choose. I'm lying. I did choose Wenjie though. So, okay, so let me tell you about them because I feel like what I'm saying is I'm obsessed. Okay, so this one is basically, so Chanje is the moon goddess and she got exiled to the moon because she stole the Celestial High King, I think it's his name, Celestial High King? Celestial Emperor immortality elixir. So she basically got sent to the moon, but she was pregnant. She gets exiled to the moon and nobody knows she's pregnant, and that's when she has Shinjin, which is the main character of this book, the queen herself. So basically, now that she's getting older, Shinjin's magic is starting to flare up and they can feel her down in the Celestial Kingdom. So they're basically going up there like, what is this energy that we're feeling? Who is here? And Chanje basically forces Shinjin to go away. Like, you have to go or they're gonna find you and they're gonna kill you. So she has to run away from home alone. Well, she took someone, but like, eventually she ends up alone and she ends up at the Celestial Kingdom where her enemies live, like the people that are trying to find her, right? So she cannot say that she is the daughter of the moon goddess. This is divided into 3 books. The books is about that and her journey in the Celestial Kingdom, where she gets close to Li Wei, who is the prince, and they train together. She masters like archery and stuff like that. And then in the second book, something happens at the end of the first book that she's basically forced to join the army of the Celestial Kingdom, and there she met Wenjie, which is a warrior, and basically like they're like the best ones. They kill creatures together, they go to war together, they fight together, they're like a dream team, okay? And then the last part of the book is her going to the Celestial Kingdom. There's a plot to it, like going back to the Celestial Kingdom to complete her journey so that she can basically get her mom out of the moon and get her exile terminated, basically. And then also there's a plot twist in this book. It's betrayal. That's like the best I can say without spoiling it, but it's basically she gets betrayed. And then in the beginning of this book, she is dealing with trust issues. Shinjin has to overcome past grudges and enmities to forge a new path forward, seeking aid where she never imagined she would. The betrayal that happened here, she has to deal with it in this book. And then in this book, we basically follow her embark in a new journey. Like, now that she is a part of the Celestial Kingdom, like, she's more involved with, so as a warrior, she goes out there again, and there's always like, you know, the war between the good guys, the bad guys, and like she's just kind of like in between. There's a really crazy plot twist at the end, and the ending, I feel like people, I can see how people didn't like it, but honestly, the plot twist for this was so heartbreaking for me. Like, I actually sobbed. I feel like it took me a while to process it. And when I say a while, I mean like an hour. I had to take like an hour break of this book to be like, what the heck just happened? You know what I mean? And then when I got back into it, I was like, well, I was thinking about it during that hour. I was like, how is she gonna end it? Because this plot twist will ruin the whole book for me. I went into it expecting anything, because at this point I was like, I have no idea where she's going with the story. And the ending for it was, I know people don't love it, but I just could not see it ending any other way. Like, there's no way that she's gonna make it better by the ending. There's no way. And then she does it. And then she does. Oh my gosh. I saw on Goodreads that there's like a third book. I'm assuming it's like a novella. And if we get like an epilogue novella for the ending of this, I would die. This book left me wanting more. And I know that's not a good thing. I was so sad when it ended. I was basically like grieving it. Like, I love it so much. I've never loved a series as much as I love this one. I will always recommend it. It will always be, I mean, I'm not gonna say always, because you never know, but like, I cannot think of anything that can top this, like can top what I felt reading this book. Even like the American Roommate Experiment, you know, I was talking about what I felt. I feel like even that wasn't what I, you know, felt reading this. This was magical. And like, can we talk about the scenes? Like, let's talk about this scene. This is where she is being close with Leeway. There's a love triangle, by the way. So this is one of the love interests. This is Leeway. He's the prince, and he is the one that she trains with, and who she becomes an amazing warrior with. And then this is Wenjie. So this is basically part of like when they were like in their journey, like when they were in the middle of a war, they were taking a break from fighting, and he took her to like this special lake. How beautiful is that? I'm gonna insert some more pictures because I feel like this whole world in general is beautiful. Yeah, I love them. I want to love this one more than this one because of the cover. I'm a cover person. I just love the aesthetic. I feel like if I was writing a book, this will be the cover that I will go for. And then this one, I don't love the cover, but I like the story, I think, in this one better. And you can tell because of how I annotated. As you guys can see, this one is a lot more annotated than this one. And look at the ending. Like, you can see how they all like bunch up together down here because of how many annotations I had. Also, dragons. I love dragons. I'm here for the dragons. So yeah, that is my favorite books of 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know this video is gonna be so long, but I promise you, it's worth it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe for future videos. I also uploaded my 2023 TBR and my 2023 most anticipated releases, so I will link those down below. They're gonna be also at the end of this video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one.